By next July, Jane will have been working for this company for 5 years. By the time his mom gets home, he will have been playing video games for 4 hours. In 10 minutes, he will have been jogging for 2 hours straight. He will be exhausted this evening because he will have been driving for 7 hours. In these sentences, we use the future perfect continuous tense. Will have been working, will have been playing, will have been jogging, and will have been driving. This is a pretty advanced, not so often used tense, but if you do choose to use this tense, it will make you sound like you have a strong grasp on the English language and its grammar. So it's particularly useful, for instance, if you're taking IELTS or have to display your English language prowess. So, how do we construct the future perfect continuous tense? Let me tell you. Will plus have plus been plus a verb in its ing form. And it is always this construction no matter what or who our subject is. He will have been working. She will have been working. I will have been working. See? The same. So, what is the future perfect continuous tense? And how do we use it? We use the future perfect continuous tense to talk about how long a continued action will have been happening at a specific time in the future or before another future action. This continued action could begin in the past. It could begin in the present, or it could begin in the future, but must continue into the future in order for us to use the future perfect continuous tense. So we are going to take a look at the examples used in the intro. So note that when we use the future perfect continuous tense, we need to have a specific future time or another future action that our continued action will have been continuing by. So in this example, by next July is our future time. At that time in the future, Jane will have been working for the company for 5 years. So let's just say now it's July. If it's now July, then Jane started working for the company 4 years ago. So this action, this continued action, started in the past, has been continuing to the present, and will have been continuing into the future. At least until next July, which is our specific future time, as I've mentioned. Jane could possibly keep working for this company after next July. We don't know. But we do know that next July, at that point in the future, Jane will have been working for 5 years at this company. So our next example. By the time his mom gets home, he will have been playing video games for 4 hours. So we have a future action here, which is his mom gets home. Remember, we have to have a future time or future action that our continued action will have been in progress by. And that, as I've just mentioned, is his mom gets home. The action that will have been in progress is him playing video games. This action will have been happening for 4 hours when his mom gets home. So we don't know exactly when this action began. It could have been in the past. It could have now just begun. It could even begin in the future. All we know from this future perfect continuous construction is that at our point in the future, his mom getting home, it will have been going on for 4 hours. By that point, he will have been playing video games for 4 hours. So our next example is in 10 minutes. He will have been jogging for 2 hours straight. So our future time, of course, is in 10 minutes. 10 minutes from now into the future. And the action that will have been in progress, continuing up to that point, is him jogging. So this is clearly an action that we know started in the past. So he's jogging and jogging and jogging, and it has been continuing to the present and will have been continuing up into the future. 10 minutes into the future, to be exact. All right, our next example. This evening, he will be exhausted because he will have been driving for 7 hours. So this is an example of how we can use the future perfect continuous to show a cause and effect relationship, okay? This evening, he will be exhausted because he will have been driving for 7 hours. See, there's a cause. He will have been driving for 7 hours. And the effect is that he will be exhausted. So our future action, our future event, is him being exhausted. And we also have a time. This evening, we have both. By that point, he will have been driving for 7 hours straight. When I say straight, I mean without stopping. 7 hours without stopping. We sometimes just use the word straight. So that continued action could have started in the past. It could start now. But by this evening, it will have been happening for 7 hours. So there is a future perfect continuous contracted form or a shortened form that we use usually in spoken English. So let's go over those contracted forms. We use these contracted forms usually when the subject is a pronoun. So instead of saying I will have been jogging, I can say I'll have been jogging. Instead of saying he will have been jogging, we can say he'll have been jogging. Instead of saying she will have been jogging, we can say she'll have been jogging. Instead of saying we will have been jogging, we can say we'll have been jogging. Instead of saying they will have been jogging, we can say they'll have been jogging. Okay, so we contract that pronoun and then will. We can even construct the will have into an even shorter form. So instead of saying I will have been jogging, I could say I'll have been jogging, I'll have been jogging, he'll have been jogging, she'll have been jogging, we'll have been jogging, they'll have been jogging. So we can contract it even further if we would like. So now we will go over the negative forms of the future perfect continuous tense and also the shortened negative forms of the future perfect continuous. So basically, like the future perfect tense, which we went over a few weeks ago, and I encourage you to look at that video, to make the future perfect continuous tense negative, all we do is add the word not after will. Will plus not plus have plus been plus verb ing. Will plus not plus have plus been plus verb ing. So she will not have been working. He will not have been playing. He will not have been jogging. He will not have been driving. Okay, so we can contract the negative form of the future perfect continuous as well. So instead of saying she will not have been working, we could say she won't have been working, right? Because will not contracted is won't. Instead of saying he will not have been playing, we can say he won't have been playing. He won't have been jogging. He won't have been driving. And we can contract that even further. If you want to push yourself and practice your pronunciation, you can contract will not have. She won't have been working. He won't have been playing. He won't have been jogging. He won't have been driving. And we can easily make questions with the future perfect continuous tense by flipping the words will and whatever our subject is. So she will have been working becomes will she have been working? He will have been playing becomes will he have been playing? He will have been jogging becomes will he have been jogging? And he will have been driving becomes will he have been driving? So here you have a practice. You have 5 sentences. An example sentence is done for you. I just have a future time on Tuesday, a subject, we, and an infinitive phrase that I put into the future perfect continuous. So I have the sentence on Tuesday, our future time. We will have been camping for a week. You must do what I did for that sentence for sentences 1, 2, 3, and 4. Sentences 1 and 2 are just regular positive statements. 3, you have to make a negative sentence. For sentence 4, you've got to make it into a question. That's why there's a question mark. All right. So let's look at sentence 1. We have next week. Our subject is Carter, and our continued action that will have been happening up until next week, up until that point, is diet for a month. So I came up with the sentence, and hopefully you have too. Next week, Carter will have been dieting for a month. Okay, so let's look at sentence 2. We have the future time. We have the future action when you arrive. Our subject is I, and our continued action will be clean for 2 hours. So we start with that future action that our continued action will have been happening by when you arrive. I will have been cleaning for 2 hours. So by the time you arrive, the cleaning that I'm doing will have been going on for 2 hours. Next, we have the specific future action when he retires. Our subject is he. And our infinitive phrase we have for this sentence is not work for 50 years. So we've come up with the sentence, when he retires, he will not have been working for 50 years. Okay, so we made it negative. So to make things negative, remember, we just put the word not after will. Okay, when he retires, he will not have been working for 50 years. Let's move on to sentence 4. Future time, by midnight, subject, Macy, infinitive phrase, studying for 4 hours? Got a question mark on the end. So we come up with the sentence, by midnight, and in order to make questions, we flip will and the subject. So instead of saying Macy will, we say, will Macy have been studying for 4 hours? Will Macy have been studying for 4 hours? And that is it, English learners, on the future perfect continuous tense. Rewatch and rewind and redo these exercises as often as you need to. Practice your pronunciation. I'm sure that this very advanced tense will eventually become very natural to you. If you found this video useful, make sure to give me a like, please. I also love to read your comments, so feel free to leave a comment. Subscribe to this channel if you'd like more videos on English tenses. And until next time, English learners.